gears.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Gregg's Vintage Workshop, where I'm restoring history one piece at a time. I've got my friend Moose with me tonight. He wants to be in my lap, so that's where he's going to be, I guess. So tonight's episode of Gregg's Vintage Workshop, a little bit different. We're going to be restoring a little piece of history. That is a 1918 United Phonographs Corporation phonograph. I got it a couple weeks ago at a antique store here within an hour of my home. Anyway, I had to take it all apart to get it home because it's one of those upright style. And I got it apart. I got it home. I got the outside cabinet cleaned up a little bit, and I pulled the motor out of it. And tonight's episode is we're going to overhaul the motor. It is going to include cleaning, spring repair because it has a broken spring, and I have to re-gear it because there's two gears that were completely damaged, missing teeth. So without further ado, let's get into this motor overhaul on this 1918 United Phonographs Corporation. So this is for my own documentation purposes, so we can see how this goes together. There is this ring here, it slides over that. There is another ring slid over that, if I can get it where you can see it, behind this screw here. This screw here holds that mechanism in place. This gear, the teeth are facing that way. In other words, I don't know if I can see this or not, but like if it was a saw blade, the teeth would be like facing that way, the sharp end of the tooth. So in other words, the sharp end of the tooth, and then it bevels down, the sharp end of the tooth, and then it bevels down. This one, this shaft, obviously those teeth measure that. This shaft's held in by a little screw here, a little screw here, and a big screw here on the end. Big screw on the end here. Little screw, big screw, gear, long screw. This screw looks a little shorter, but then maybe this one's screwed out a ways. It does still look longer to me. This shaft looks like an adjustment knurl here. Screw, worm gear, governor, screw down there for the governor, which appears to be seized up, screw, little gear, not really gear, thumb wheel, thumb nut. Screw here, holds that. This gear has a pin in it that I'm going to need a pin punch to try and drive out. This gear has a like an Allen screw type flathead screw that will not come out. Spring actually has some tension. The spring might be okay. Trying to get all angles of this thing because when I take it apart it's going to be a while before I get it back together again. This gear here has a hole in it, looks like it should probably be pinned, but this thing was walking, and I think the reason it's walking is because this pin is missing. Okay, so here we're on a camera that gives you a little bit better close-up of what I'm talking about. Let's see if I can get you a little bit closer, even than where I am right now. So if you can see right through here, You can see the teeth are chewed up and missing right through there. If I turn it around, the other ones aren't too bad, although they're bent. And then we get to that section where they're chewed up and missing. Now the one it hooks onto doesn't have any missing, but they're not straight, they're bent. And I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Anyway, before I can get the spring housing off, I have to get this shaft out. And the only thing holding that shaft in there is this spacer, this gear, and this piece of the framework, which is held in by two screws, which are physically out right at the moment. One right here and one right here. Well, I got to get this gear off first. And I got to get this gear off second. Or one or the other first and the other second. Because this, I don't think is going to slide this way far enough for that to come out of the frame. Unfortunately, they didn't have Allen screws back in apparently early 19-teens, and they have these screw-headed ones, and I could tell last night this was not coming loose. I soaked it with penetrating oil, and I could tell it was going to literally just break the top off of them. I'm going to try again tonight, but I have a feeling what I'm going to wind up doing is taking my Dremel, drilling it down, grinding it down flat, punch marking it, and drilling it out. I don't think I can reuse this gear because of the teeth being bent anyway. Once I have this set screw drilled out, then I should be able to get the gear to come off. Same on this one. Unfortunately, this one doesn't use a set screw. It has a pin in there. I don't really want to beat on that thing to try and knock the pin out. I don't have a pin punch that small anyway. I mean, I might try something to see if it'll move, but I don't think it's going to move, so I'll probably wind up having to drill that pin out. So that's the plan for tonight, is get these two gears off. And I'm not going to show you guys everything, but I'll show some of it. I'm going to film it on my Kodak ZE1, but I want to show you where I was at. Now, as I've been taking the stuff off, I've been putting in ultrasonic cleaner and cleaning them off. Just like the big brass gear and governor and all that, I got that all nice and cleaned up. So as I get this apart, everything's going to go into the ultrasonic cleaner and get cleaned up. I don't think the spring is broke because I had a little spring tension on it last night. Matter of fact, it almost looks like somebody may have put a spring in at some point in time, because that's shinier than that one. That one looks original, that one doesn't. I don't know. We'll see. And then I got to get that apart. The gears are my biggest concern. I did some research online. I think I can get a pair of these for about $100 for the pair. It ain't cheap. Gotta get it apart first. So, let's see what I can get done here. So the first thing I'm going to try and do is see if I can get that screw to turn. I don't think it's going to. I think it's just going to snap the head off. But we'll give it a shot here. Yep, it just snapped it right off. Half of it. That's what I figured it was going to do. Alright, so now what I need to do is take my little grinder and shave that off flat so I can get it in my drill press. Let me go get my die grinder, my Dremel tool. Alright, so I'm going to turn this and see if I can get that off of that, or get it flat. That wasn't too bad. Now I just got to get it in the drill press, see if we can get it drilled out. Okay, so I got finished drilling the hole, or got the set screw drilled out. And I'm going to see if I can use a gear puller. Try and get this little gear pulled off of here. Hopefully I can get into it and get my drill bit out of it so I don't break it off. There we go. Alright. I'm going to go and get my little gear puller, see if we can get that off. Let's see if I can rotate that thing around so you can guys see it better. I'm a little in tight proximity right here because of the drill press, but bear with me here for a second. Let me get this situated. Alright, so I got this little gear puller. I'm hoping I can make this thing get on here, okay. Trying to make it be centered on that gear as much as possible. Let's see. That puppy is on there snug. All right. Yeah, I think it's moving. Wow, that took a lot of effort. There it comes. Okay, it came off. Well, that's a good thing. There it is. You see where I drilled the set screw out. Actually provided it to have a little bit more of a spot for the set screw to seat in here by doing that too. Alright, let me get the camera resituated where you guys can see the next stuff I'm going to do here. So again, I got that gear off. This is the one that wasn't really in that bad shape, but it does have bent teeth. There's a chipped tooth there, and a couple chipped teeth there, and bent teeth there. This other smaller gear that I was showing you earlier is the one that's bad. But I'm going to have to be able to tap this shaft out of that gear because I can't really get in there and pull a gear. But I have to get this off first. I got to get the spring can off first, which means I got to get this off, which now that I've got the gear off, I'm hopeful that I can get this slid over enough to get that out of there. So I'm going to take these screws out and see what we can do. I'm hoping now that that gear is out of the way that I can get this. Pretty bad I don't have matching gloves. I actually would out in the garage, but anyway, let's see if we can. There's a pin under this thing that helps latch it all in place. So I hope I can get this thing up enough to get the pin to clear, and I think it just did. It just cleared. And now I got to get this to walk over here. I hope that's going to walk over there far enough to drop down. Looks like it should. Not getting anything on this thing really. Get my other hammer that's not going to damage anything. My plastic hammer. Don't think I'll move that either. Oh, it's so close. See, if I can get it to drop down out of there, then I can spin it up and get that off that shaft. Oh, you know what? I think I can knock that shaft back through this other way now that I think about it. Maybe I'll knock that shaft back through there. Now that the gear's off. What was I thinking? Maybe. Probably need to put everything back where it was though, to be able to do that. Come on, Pin, get back in there. I think, maybe. Gotta get the pin back up now, so we'll go in its hole. Don't know. Do without screwing something up, you know. Alright, I'm going to keep the film running for this. Let me get it figured out and I'll bring you back. Okay, I got it apart. Suffice it to say, as you can tell from the mess on my bench here, it was not an easy process. Not even close. After 100 years, it definitely did not want to come apart. One of the reasons that it didn't want to come apart was everything was seized up on the shafts, but the other reason it didn't want to come apart was because the spring was broke. One of the springs was broke, let me put it like that. This spring here is broke, the other spring is not broke. I got to get them both apart. The interesting thing is these are supposed to be lubricated with grease. Now granted, I realize this thing's well over 100 years old, but it sure don't look like there was ever much grease in it at all, because what really fell out of it was a bunch of metal powder. And that's what you're seeing all over the bench here, is metal powder. So, now I gotta fix the spring. Moose, stay down. Don't jump up here, you get crap on your feet. So I'm gonna set you up on a tripod. We're gonna take these springs apart so I can clean and lubricate them, and I gotta fix this one. So, let me get you set up and we'll do that. So this is the spring. Now I'm not sure how well it's going to show in the camera, but you can see there's not much as far as grease in there, and it's broken. All of it's nasty. Everything's going to get cleaned. I'm going to try and fasten this thing in my trying to make it easier so it don't move around on me as much. The whole idea on these is you don't want them to come flying all apart on you. Try and get a separation between the coil here and then kind of work it out. Because these things can go flying. Try and keep it under control. to get ahead of you. All possible. Go. The last piece off of there. Come on, baby. It's really stuck on that. There it goes. There it is. And you can see from my gloves, it's just a mess. Just metal powder in there. After 100 years, if it, I mean, I'm starting to wonder if it was ever had grease on it from the factory, or if they just like shot some sort of lubricant in it, because it's just a metal powder. And I realize it's, you know, 100 some years old, but you can see inside the can there, it's just powder. So I'll put that in the ultrasonic cleaner here in a minute. What I got to do, I'll put this in the cleaner. What I got to do is on this other end, you can see it's got a tapered eye in there. The hook's on this rivet. If I can get it where you guys can see it. Hook's on that rivet right there. There's a similar situation supposed to be on the opposite side. That's what broke off. That's over here. I'm going to have to get that piece up out of there so I can straighten it out, anneal it, and then drill a new slot like that in it. So let me I don't like this. I'll roll this off of this. And then this will get clean as well. Now I'm just doing a quick wipe over on it. I don't know if you guys are seeing this, probably not, probably got it out of camera. Got all the metal in that. Alright, we get this stuff going in the ultrasonic cleaner. Alright, so this is that spring, and what I need to try and do is I got to get enough of the tight end straightened out enough that I can anneal it, soften it, so that I can drill it and shape one of these in the end of it. Now it's pretty in there, pretty well and pretty tight. I've already loosened it a little bit, but this is not an easy process. So I got to get it straight enough that I can heat it. That might be straight enough there for me to get some heat into it. But I do want to separate it from the other coils. I don't want to get heat in the rest of the coils. So let me get something set up so we can do this. Okay, so what I've done was I wrapped this spring around the Black & Decker as far as I could get it. And now I just got to get this last little bit unwound slightly and apply some heat to it. I don't want to booger it up. As you can see there, see we're starting to get there. But I got to get enough that I can put some heat in it. Probably around this spot right here. And I also got to do that without burning up my bench. Piece of wood, maybe, might help. Piece of pipe here might help. I don't know. Once the heat gets into it and it flattens it out, should be all right. I think it's somewhere about right there. My smoke alarm off. Now by annealing that metal, it should have taken the spring temper out of that area of the spring, which will allow me to manipulate it, drill it, and bend it easier. Now it's not going to be the same length as it was before, but I don't think that the difference is going to make that big of a difference. I'm going to let that cool down. I'll cool it down and we'll get it set up for the next step. Okay, so you guys probably hear my ultrasonic cleaner in the background. I apologize for that. But I want to work on this, so we got to listen to that too. So the next process is going to be for me to put these holes in here. So what I plan on doing, if I could reverse this, I would just trace it on there. Fortunately, I can't reverse it. So what I'm going to do is figure out what bits I want. I think the one's a 3/8, 3/16. Yep, 3/16. So I need to make two holes. One's going to be 3/16. One is going to be 3/8. And then I'll use my Dremel tool to cut the slots. And I think I'm going to go about right here. That's pretty centered. Alright, we're going to start with a small pilot hole, hopefully first. One. Pretty good. Pretty close. Middle this way. A little high spot on that one side. This side's good. Okay, show you what I got here. So it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think that's going to work perfect. I'm going to go back now with the Dremel tool and kind of cut this off shorter through here. and kind of give it a little bit of a bevel. Alright, I just got to finish cleaning get the can cleaned up, and then we can put it back together. Okay, so I've got this spring completely clean. I went over it with a rag soaked in no low odor mineral spirits. I got the can out of the Ultrasonic Cleaner. I'm not sure if you guys are seeing this or not. I'll say yeah, they're not real nice. So now I got to put the spring back in here. I'm going to put a little grease in here too. Get this situated back in here. Keep from distorting it, but I got to keep it snug. That should work, I think. And get me some grease over here. I'm using a multi-duty complex synthetic type grease. Should last lifetime, my lifetime for sure, and definitely the lifetime of this thing, I would think. Just put a little on the inside edge here, and then we'll pack grease in it once I get the spring physically in here. I'll pack some grease inside here, but we got to have some. I want some initial lubrication in here. I don't want it to have that dry powdery residue type crap going on in there no more, so do it like that. Alright, so it's got a light coating there. Remove the grease. I think that spring could cut you if you weren't careful, for sure. So alright, so my rivet is there, and you can see our thingy goes like that, so I'm going to try and get that on there. Maybe easier said than done too. Remember, it didn't come out real super easy. It'd help if it had a chamfer on it like I put on mine. A little tighter there. There it goes. It went. Alright, now I just gotta walk this. I think it went. Yeah, it did. I just gotta walk the spring right on the side there. Let me get a hold of the thing a little bit better. Walk it all the way around. At some point it'll get small enough I can just pop the whole thing inside there, I think. But we don't want it to come back out at us. And we don't want to get ahead of ourselves either. There it goes, it's in there. So the spring's in the can now. Unfortunately, this needs to get more towards the center so we can snag it with the hub when I put the hub in there. So I'll have to get my pliers in here and get more of a snag on there, more of a bend right in there just to get back towards the center. There's one done and one to go. I'll come back when I get that centered so I can show you how I'm going to put the grease in there.